It says she threatened to delete white people and found out. I don't know what that means. Let's see what she found out.
You guys want to criminalize us with metal detectors? We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you. And I hope one day somebody brings the guillotine and kills all of you motherfuckers.
That was a threat, what you said at the end, and so the officers are going to escort you out and take care of that.
A deputy public defender entered not guilty pleas on Patel's behalf to 8 counts of threatening a public official and 10 counts of making terroristic threats. She's due back in court later this month.
Holy shit. I think it's really funny that she said that to this Asian woman. Based Asian judge. Yeah, right? Like, what? That's crazy that you're so emboldened to think that doing anything to white people is justified, therefore you can just say that with impunity. And plenty of people have said those things with impunity, so I don't blame her for thinking she's impervious to consequences. It's crazy that we're in a timeline where I have to say based judge because they actually did something about a racist call to violence against white people. Because that should just be the default when you have any kind of racist call to violence. Asians are white passing, so you can't be racist to them either. Jesus Christ. Actually insane. Thank you, based Asian judge lady. It says, Katya Gardner is the daughter of the Virginia House of Delegates member Deborah Gardner, and she's talking about poisoning white people. If Deborah's daughter is saying this publicly, imagine what they're saying privately. I just vote Deborah Gardner. There's the Deborah Gardner thing. Delegate Deborah Gardner. A bunch of pictures. Bunch of stuff here. And as you can see, the post that he's quote retweeting is gone. It says, this post violated the X rules. Learn more. And that's where we come to this thing. Insider Wire said, my good friend at Leftism for You was just locked out of his account for violent speech after exposing someone who wanted to contaminate/poison any white MAGA family's food. This is targeted censorship, and the account saying this stuff is still up and unharmed. Police spread the word to get him and his account unlocked. And his tweet was, meet Katya, and then linked her Twitter account. And a quote that said, if I owned a soul food place and a white MAGA family showed up in my restaurant, there's a high chance that I'm going to put Windex in their food. Some type of toilet cleaner, saliva, feces. There would be Windex in all of your food. And I'm going to sit there and smile the whole time you're eating it. And then it said, your account has been locked at Leftism for You. What happened? You violated the rules against violent speech. Once again, we see the case of, it's okay for her to say it, but it's not okay for him to report on her saying it. Very, very interesting. A very interesting thing there. And then someone else has the videos up. How do you react to this woman, Katya? It's Katya claiming she would poison white customers.
Well, like me personally, if I owned a soul food place and a white MAGA family showed up at my restaurant, there's a high chance that I'm going to put Windex in their food. Some type of toilet cleaner, saliva, feces. You're really trusting to walk your ass in somebody's facility knowing that you've caused their entire life to change in the matter of a couple of years and it's your fault.
What the fuck?
You trust those people to make you food? Wouldn't be me.
I mean, she said it, not me. She's the one who said it. You shouldn't trust those people to make your food.
Would be Windex in all of your food. All of it. And I'm going to sit there and smile the whole time you're eating it. I don't give a fuck. I don't. And when the police come and be like, yeah, I put that in their food because they shouldn't have came in here.
Pakistani National, thank you for the Canadians. It makes you say we can only shop at places ran by white men. I'm thinking back to that horrendous experience I had with a meal prep service. Oh god, it was bad. It was bad. We have the Rapid Response 47 account finally tweeting about Ilhan Omar and marrying her brother. Is something finally going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Yes. And they tagged Ilhan Omar's account. Married her brother. Kind of fucking crazy. Why does he look super gay? That's a great question. The Washington Free Beacon. Yes, Ilhan Omar married her brother. President Donald Trump is an occasional practitioner of an unsparing form of political logic. Having taken an interest in the massive public programs fraud committed by an almost exclusively Somali cast of perpetrators in Minnesota, he has followed up with unfriendly comments on Minnesota 5th District Representative Ilhan Omar. She comes in, she does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining. The president told a crowd in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania on Tuesday. We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother in order to get in, right? She married her brother. Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Well, they did like talking about, oh, you took this picture with your daughter. That means that you're a bad guy. Omar is a Somali fraud exhibit A, and her district was the center of gravity in the massive Feeding Our Future fraud case that I wrote about in the Washington Free Beacon in March. Despite what you may think, Omar has made a valuable contribution to our history. She goes to show that there is such a thing as a new kind of political scandal. Mark Twain famously observed it could probably be shown by facts and figures, and that there is no distinctly Native American criminal class except Congress. And he hadn't even met Omar. I'm talking about Omar's marriage to her brother, Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi. Trump may have garbled the specifics, but he got the upshot of the story right. Omar's family brought Elmi over from London in 2009 to try and extract him from a gay lifestyle. Hey, chat, you called it! And that is the context in which the congresswoman tied the knot with him. Didn't we read a story the other day about some other, congressional representative guy who's gay and married a lesbian to commit marriage fraud? Didn't we read about that recently, man? Wasn't it both marriage and immigration, or was it just marriage? I can't remember. The illegal, it was? Okay. I was like, I can't remember if it was immigration as well. He was on the city council. These fucking people. I started writing about Omar for Powerline, the website to which I'm an original contributor, in August 2016 when she defeated 22-term incumbent and feminist heroine Phyllis Khan in the Democratic Farmer Labor primary for a seat in the Minnesota State Legislature. 22-term incumbent. That's fucking crazy. If you have a 22-term incumbent, I guess that's kind of the slide you go down to have your state become like a Somali war territory. A reader had directed me to post on a message board called Somali Spot, which has since been removed from the internet. It asserted that Omar had married her husband, Ahmed Hirsi, the father of her children, in 2002, but that she had then married her brother, Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi, in 2009. Her campaign website advertised Hirsi as her husband and made no mention of Elmi. And this is the picture of the forum board, I suppose. Photo of Ilhan and Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi in London last year. What's even more shocking is that Ahmed is actually her brother. He's a British citizen and arrived in the US in 2008. As soon as Ilhan Omar married him, he started university at her alma mater, North Dakota State University, where he graduated in 2012. Shortly thereafter, he moved to Minneapolis, where he was living in a public housing complex and was later evicted. He then returned to the UK, where he now lives. Man. Thanks, Batman. Checked out the Somali Spot story online through the Minnesota official marriage system, inputting Omar's name. I found that the two marriages cited in the Somali Spot post checked out as indicated. The site reflected Omar's 2002 marriage to her advertised husband, Ahmed Aden, later Ahmed Hirsi, and her 2009 marriage to Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi, identified in the Somali Spot post as Omar's brother. As it turned out, Omar and Hirsi had only applied for a marriage license in 2002, but never followed through with a legal marriage. We have had, indisputable proof of her committing immigration fraud. How is she still allowed to serve in a seat in our government? Please, for the love of God, both get her out of our government and then out of our country. This is absurd. This is absurd to allow this. Citing the Somali Spot post and online marriage information, I contacted Omar's campaign and got a response from criminal defense attorney Jean Brandel. I had seen her in court representing one of the 6 Somali defendants who pleaded guilty in the 2016 ISIS terrorism case. How many more articles about Somali crime must I read being perpetrated in the US? The attorney's message was a classic non-response response that called me a bigot and said I should direct further questions to her rather than the campaign spokesman I had called. She seemed to think she could scare me off, and when I directed my further questions to her as she instructed, she ignored me. I'm so surprised, by the way, both by her calling the journalist a bigot for doing actual investigative journalism, a lost practice in current year, and then just fucking ignoring him. I wrote about all of this on Powerline, and my post slowly generated a huge controversy that the Minnesota Star-Tribune eventually covered. I got a call from then Star-Tribune reporter Patrick Coulican, who told me that he was writing the story and that the campaign denied that Elmi is Omar's brother. I asked, who do they say he is? And he responded, they won't tell me. Here is how it was reported in Coulican's story. Omar's campaign flatly denied that Elmi is her brother. It would only say that she and Ahmed Hirsi, who is pictured in the campaign literature and is the father of their 3 children, are together and raising a family. The Star-Tribune could not find records in Minnesota showing that the two ever married. Her campaign website reads, Ilhan, her husband, and 3 children live in the West Bank neighborhood of District 60B. The most recent voter registration records show Omar and Hirsi living at the same West Bank address. Like a lot of families, she and Hirsi, the father of their 3 children, have had their ups and downs, have weathered some storms, but what matters is that they come out of it together. The campaign spokesman Ben Goldfarb said he declined to offer more details. The campaign would not make either Omar or Hirsi available for comment, releasing a statement from Omar instead. A number of baseless, absurd rumors that don't bear repeating have been made recently about my personal life and family. Let me be clear, they are categorically false. Well, this is a don't believe your lying eyes situation. We can see the marriage certificate. We can use our special eyes to look at the paper that has the names on it. The statement goes on to decry Donald Trump-style misogyny, racism, anti-immigration rhetoric, and Islamophobic division. Fucking I hate commies. Rest assured that petty rumors like these will not distract me from the important work that lies ahead for our communities. Scott Johnson, a writer at Powerline, said the campaign's response leaves many unanswered questions. Neither Ilhan Omar nor her campaign has offered an explanation for what is going on here. The voters of Omar's district deserve a straight answer to a simple question. Now they have failed to provide one either to me or to the Star-Tribune. What I said in 2016 remains true today. In 2019, however, the State Campaign Finance Board released its investigative file on Omar's 2016 campaign finance violation. The file was full of interesting documents bearing on the 2016 campaign controversy. Among them were Omar's 2014 and 2015 tax returns filed jointly with Ahmed Hirsi, whom she had never legally married while she was still legally married to Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi. So she's also committing tax fraud? And also technically cheating? What the actual how has she been allowed to get away with so much? This is wild! Omar and Elmi's 2009 marriage license, by the way, had been signed by Christian pastor Walisha Harris, female pastor, red flag. That remains an unmentionable detail in the sequence of events constructed by Omar, in which every twist and turn is accounted for by her Islamic faith tradition. Well, I mean, of course, if they get married by a Christian pastor, then it doesn't count in their faith, right? So they can use the laws of our land to make their sham marriage something legal in order to commit fraud, but it's not actually anything under their actual religion, so it's fine for them to do. Nice taquilla you got there, buddy. In 2019, I told Coulican about the Campaign Finance Board documents by email. He and Stephen Montemayor proceeded to write a 3,000-word, page 1 story, the most read Star-Tribune story of 2019, revisiting the issue with the documents in the file and the other social media material we had reported on Powerline. The story proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Omar married her brother for some fraudulent purpose. Coulican and Montemayor all but begged Omar for an interview and access to her family to discuss the issue. She repaid them with the same kind of treatment I had received in 2016. These left-wing reporters for a left-wing newspaper begged Omar for a response, but they got the same one I had in 2016. They were bigots too. Imagine asking questions and asking for proof. What a bigot! Whether by colluding with right-wing outlets to go after Muslim elected officials or hounding family members, legitimate media outlets have a responsibility to not fan the flames of hate, her spokesman told the paper. Continuing to do so is not only demeaning to Ilhan, but her entire family. It's not demeaning to report on the truth. That's crazy. What a crazy thing to say. Between 2016 and 2019, reporters including Preya Samsundar at Minnesota's Alpha News and David Steinberg at PJ Media also added a trove of information supporting the proposition that Omar had married her brother in 2009. In 2019, I published Steinberg's illustrated summary, tying up loose threads in the curious case on Powerline. It lays out in meticulous detail what several Somali sources relayed both to him and to me, as well as social media posts that make it clear Elmi is Omar's brother. Omar entered the United States in 1995 as a fraudulent member of the Omar family, which was granted asylum in the United States and settled in Arlington, Virginia, along with her sister Sarah and father Nur Saeed. The rest of Omar's genetic family, the Elmi family, a sister, Layla, and Mohammed and Ahmed, were granted asylum in the United Kingdom. Social media posts throughout the years show Omar and her siblings in both the US and the UK referring to each other and to their father as such. It is not difficult to track. Historian Dominic Green looked at the documents and arrived at approximately the same conclusion in a column for The Spectator that is still available online at the Daily Mail under the headline, quoting Omar Flack Ben Goldfarb's attempt to articulate Omar's story. "I am legally married to one and culturally to another." Green's column is almost as funny as Rob Long's hilarious 2019 National Review column, "That's My Husbro, Ilhan Omar's Family Drama," premised on the proposition that Omar married her brother. Everybody knows, but somehow it doesn't matter. I feel this so fucking hard. Every time we uncover any kind of fraud or stealing or just political corruption in general, it just seems like, yeah, everybody's known about this for years, but like nothing ever fucking happens. It's mind-blowing. In 2020, Omar published her memoir, This Is What America Looks Like, with Rebecca Paley. Omar refers to her alleged 6 siblings in the book without naming a single one, including Ahmed Nur Saeed Elmi, for that matter. It is vacuous and evasive on all of the above. Having taken an interest in Omar's case, Green, a member of the Royal Historical Society, reviewed her memoir for The Spectator's American edition. He wrote, "The persistent and credibly sourced claim that Omar committed immigration and education fraud with one, Ahmed Saeed Elmi, who, it is also claimed may be her brother, is simply ignored. She doesn't even name Elmi and calls the man that she was married to for 8 years someone, quote, whom I spent little time with that I wouldn't even make him a footnote in my story if it weren't for the fact that this event turned into the main headline later on." That is not a good defense for immigration fraud. In fact, address records show that Omar was living with her first husband, quote-unquote Islamically married, while still married to her second civil marriage in 2017. Civil marriage, period. In 2017, when she filed for divorce from her second husband, she claimed under penalty of perjury not to have been in contact with her first husband since 2011. Dozens of now deleted social media posts, photos, and a 2016 interview suggest that she may have lied. I'm so shocked that she continues to lie about everything. I also got married, but it was not important in my life. An idiot. By contrast, with Omar's memoir, Benjamin Weingarten published an illuminating book on Omar's life that same year. The aptly named American Ingrate, Ilhan Omar and the Progressive Takeover of the Democrat Party. Weingarten summarizes all the research that had been done by me, by Samsudar, and by Steinberg on Omar's marriage to her brother in Chapter 11. It is detailed and footnoted, and he recapitulates the story in the form of a bullet-pointed timeline. While none of us have nailed down definitively why Omar did what she did, we can say it was done for some fraudulent purpose in supreme confidence that the law of the land could be treated as a joke. And a lot of people in positions of power treat it this way, not just on the left. They're just like, I am one of the anointed ones, therefore the law does not apply to me. And it's ever so frustrating. If the truth ever emerges in some undeniable form, Omar will perform yet another variation on her pose as the perpetual victim. I mean, it's been working for her so far. Why change anything? If she can just lie and idiots will defend her, why not, right? Like, come on. She will claim she did what she did for a beloved brother and father. She won't say, and there's nothing you can do about it now, but she'll be thinking it. Remove her from her seat and deport her. That is what needs to happen. That is what needs to be done. If that doesn't happen, like, literally just everything is a farce. Everything's a fucking joke. Matt Van Swole, our newly awoken friend here, said he's obtained voting records of Asheville, North Carolina's Vice Mayor, Antoinette Mosley. She appears to have cast ballots in both Georgia and North Carolina in 2008, 2012, and 2014. Furthermore, it appears she also claimed a homestead tax exemption in Georgia, which is legally only available to those with a permanent residence. You have the voter thing here. North Carolina voter participation registry, or history rather. 11/4/2014, general absentee by mail. And then you have May 20th, 2014, down in Georgia, general primary. And then you have November 6th, 2012, general election early voting participant in North Carolina. And then in Georgia, you have both March 6th, 2012 and July 31st, 2012 for special election and PPP voting participant. And then you have November 4th, 2008, general early voting in North Carolina. And then in Georgia, you have December 2nd, August 5th, July 15th, and February 5th, all voter in Georgia. Very interesting thing. For those who don't know, Asheville is the San Francisco of North Carolina, liberal and stupid as hell. Oh, fuck. The thing that never happened, happened again. True. North Atlanta High School in Atlanta, Georgia, is on lockdown after a black student stabbed a white autistic student in a racially motivated attack, calling the victim a quote-unquote white bitch at the end of the video. Let's play the video.
Wait, what the fuck?
So the text on the side said the kid is autistic. Autistic white kid got stabbed by some thug using a sharp object of some kind. We're on a full lockdown. No one's allowed to leave. 2 girls in my dance were eyewitnesses.
Oh shit! Oh, chill, twin.
Jesus Christ.
Oh shit! Oh! Oh! Twin!
What the actual fuck? That's a lot.
Twin!
Jesus Christ.
Oh shit, twin, you good?
No, he's clearly not good. What the hell?
Come on, get out, come on.
That's where he said, got that white bitch. Pretty impressive that he stood up after getting stabbed that many times. So now that we've seen that video, what is this? Point of view, you go to school in Georgia?
You want to take it off! Take it off! How many times you gotta get touched? Sorry, is this your back? Slide damn! You see this young lady trying to get it on the rack? Stupid ass. Take it up.
Yeah, that feels like the security was put in there and like it's pointless if you're just gonna do that. What the fuck? What the fuck? Now I gotta go find an article, though. It says, student repeatedly stabs a helpless white classmate in the face at an Atlanta high school, screams, white bitch. This is on the 12th, that's today, okay? Sickening and apparently racially motivated incident happened this morning at Atlanta High School. As WSB-TV reported, a fight broke out at a North Atlanta high school where a black student repeatedly stabbed a white classmate in the face with a pair of scissors. The altercation started in the high school's cafeteria. School was placed on soft lockdown at 8:30 a.m. as a result of the incident. Classes have since returned to normal. WSB-TV obtained video footage showing the aggressor body slamming his victim to the ground before utilizing his weapon to brutally stab his victim. He then walks away. Witnesses to the assault can be heard repeatedly saying, "Oh shit," and expressing alarm. One walks up to the victim and says, "Quinn, you good?" Blood can be seen gushing out from the victim's face as he rolls over on the ground. The video also shows the black student racing back to his victim and screaming, "White bitch," before another student stops him. We watched that video already. Fox 5 Atlanta said the victim was apparently stabbed in the eye during the... Holy fuck. That... Kid's probably blinded for life after this. The victim, who classmates described as autistic, was sent to the hospital following the attack. His condition is unknown. Atlanta Public Schools released the following statement calling the attack an isolated incident. One student sustained an injury involving a pair of scissors. School staff responded to secure the area, ensure the safety of all students, and provide care to the injured student, who is currently being treated at a local hospital. This was an isolated incident involving only the 2 students. No other students were involved, and there is no ongoing threat to students or staff. The assailant has been detained, and charges in the stabbing are pending. Fox 5 Atlanta reporter spoke to a North Atlanta high school parent who revealed one of her children was stabbed at the school last year. I'm not entirely shocked. one. Student was hospitalized after being stabbed multiple times with scissors during a fight at North Atlanta High School. Only 2 students. What we know confirms the incident involved 2 students, happened outside the cafeteria. Isolated incident. Normal school operations have resumed. Reports of the stabbing came in around 9:30 a.m. Skyfox 5 video showed school police investigating the scene near campus off Northside Parkway. Fox 5 has obtained video of the incident. It appears the student was stabbed multiple times in the eye during a fight with a pair of scissors. APS confirmed the student's injuries came from scissors, but didn't say where the student was stabbed. Following the fight, school officials treated the injured student and secured the area. School was placed on lockdown. Student involved in the incident was detained. Atlanta police said the school district's police force is handling the investigation. I do not trust the school district's police forces, man. Ain't no way. Student Camille Lowe said the confrontation escalated quickly. Started off as a fight, and then he grabbed his scissors. Lowe said the victim did not fight back and described the scene as chaotic. It's not really a fight if the other one didn't fight back. He grabbed his scissors and started stabbing away, and he didn't try to fight back because he's not an aggressive person at all. So when he was on the floor, he was just on the, he didn't try to fight back at all. Like, he was just sitting there and everybody was in there recording him, Lowe said. Lowe also said the student who was stabbed is a special needs student known to classmates. I made TikToks with him. I talked to him like he's a pretty cool person. Nobody has a problem with him because, you know, like, we take into consideration of his disabilities, so we don't ever be mean to him. He's sweet. Parents said the lockdown and reports of violence were frightening, especially for families who learned about the incident while their children were still inside the school. My daughter's calling me frantic, scared, saying they're on shutdown, one woman said. Another parent who spoke with Fox 5 said the incident brought back painful memories, saying one of her children had also been stabbed at the school last year. It's scary. It's very scary. My kids come here. My son was going here last year. He graduated last year. Well, this year, and he was stabbed as well here at the school during an altercation with another young man. You send your kids to school thinking they're going to be okay, and something like this happens. I really, really dislike school systems because they don't ever do anything about these kinds of stuff. Like, the perpetrator never faces any repercussions, and the victim is typically also punished along with him because of the nonsense fucking zero tolerance policies. Another parent added prayers to him and his family. Friday's stabbing is the second reported scissor attack on the campus this year. In April, another student was hospitalized after being stabbed during a fight. Despite metal detectors and other security measures in place, some parents questioned whether more needs to be done to keep the students safe. Yeah, if that video of people going through the metal detectors is what's happening, it's, like, that was just a waste of money, man. You can buy and pay for all the security measures you want, but if you're not going to use them correctly, it's just a waste of money. Like, you haven't done anything. Authorities have not released the exact charges that the detained student may face or when charges will be filed. Officials have not disclosed the condition of the injured student beyond confirming hospitalization. Investigators have not said what led to the fight or whether additional security changes will follow. Yeah, like, the amount of stabbings, like, that wasn't just, like, you know, assault. That's attempted murder, man. That was a lot of stabbing. And racial component? I can't hug him anymore. Family of North Forsyth High victim killed in fight asked for prayers. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The family of a North Forsyth High student stabbed to death during a fight Tuesday morning at the school is asking for prayers. The family said 16-year-old Cameron Graham was killed. Graham's aunt, Charlita Summers, said he was a good boy who loved sports, people, and was a beacon of light in his community. Cameron was raised by his grandma, who said she instilled God in him and set boundaries for him. She also said he was going through things with his parents not being present in his life. Summers said her family tried to support him the best way they could while he dealt with not having his parents present. Summers said she's devastated. I don't hate him at all, but for the simple fact I can't hug my nephew, I can't hear his voice anymore. I can't feel his touch, I just feel like I'm in a dream. Summers said they need prayers and support from the community at this time. She also said they're starting to have conversations about funeral arrangements and will share more info about his funeral once they receive the body. On Tuesday morning, the family shared a link to support the family in paying for funeral expenses for Cameron's funeral. There's a GoFundMe link.
A community is in mourning after one student was killed and another hurt in a stabbing at North Forsyth High School. The sheriff's office confirms there is no ongoing threat to the community. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough says at 11:04 Tuesday morning, a school resource officer radioed that he needed, quote, all hands on deck. He said there was a fight between two students and there was a loss of life. Deputies confirmed this was a stabbing. We now know the name of the student who was killed. Our Wanye Reese joining us in the studio. He spoke to a family member of the victim who reached out to us. Wanye?
Good afternoon to you, Lindsay. They are very upset and emotional after the loss of
obviously.
16-year-old Cameron Graham. His aunt, her name is Charlita Summers, confirmed to me that Cameron is a student who was stabbed and killed yesterday. Summers says that Cameron was a good boy who loved playing sports. He loved people and was a beacon of light in his community. She shared with me that Cameron was being raised by his grandma, who instilled God in him and set up boundaries for him as well. The aunt says her family tried to support him the best way that they could while he dealt with not having his parents present. She says every moment of yesterday is ingrained in her mind, from learning of a stabbing to being with Cameron's grandma as they stood inside of North Forsyth High School and they were told by the chief of police and a chaplain that Cameron was gone. She shared with me that forgiveness, though, is still top of mind.
I don't hate the boy who did this to my nephew. I don't.
Why would you say that? I mean, like, not asking someone to come out like raging, but like, you should be upset that something completely irreplaceable was taken from your family. You should absolutely be fucking upset. What is with this attitude, man? I genuinely hate the just blasé, unfeeling responses that people typically have to like their loved ones getting murdered in current year. It's like, it doesn't matter who it is. It's just like, fucking feel something. You're a human being. Get angry when someone does you wrong. That is only natural. What the fuck?
I don't hate him at all. But for the simple fact that I cannot hug my nephew, I cannot hear his voice anymore. I can't feel his touch. Jesus. I just feel like I'm in a dream.
Yeah. Truly a heartbreaking story. Right now, the family says that they need prayers and support from the community. Summers says they are starting to have conversations about funeral arrangements and will share more information about his funeral once they receive the body. Lindsay, I'm going to send it back to you at the desk.
Also, there's like no information on the perpetrator. Usually these articles are filled with information about like what, you know, how the stabbing went down and who the perpetrator is, but like, I can't see that here. Do I need to look up yet another article? Let us learn together, chat. Stabbing at North Forsyth High School was accidental. Self-defense. 18-year-old attempted to wrestle the knife from the deceased. Was that kid the instigator? What the fuck is happening? Law enforcement offered new details after a deadly stabbing at North Forsyth High School earlier this week. On Tuesday, North Forsyth High School operated on a 2-hour delay, beginning the day at 10:55 a.m. less than 10 minutes later. A.M. period. Less than 10 minutes later, at 11:04 a.m., the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office was contacted by the school resource officer, who told them he needed all hands on deck. A fight between two students, one 16 and one 18, led to the fatal stabbing of 16-year-old Cameron Graham. The 18-year-old was injured and taken to the hospital. Detectives with the sheriff's office said during the press conference that Graham and the 18-year-old, who knew each other well, were fighting over a THC vape pen when Graham produced a knife. What the fuck, man? Come the fuck on. Fighting over a vape pen? Really? The two boys fought, and Graham was accidentally stabbed in the chest as the other teen tried to wrestle the knife from him. The 18-year-old suffered defensive wounds to his hands. That kind of does seal the deal, does it not? A witness testimony and video evidence corroborated this, and no charges will be filed against the surviving teenager. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough described the knife as 3 inches. Chat, let me tell you how not racist I am. Reading that article, I heard that he's a good boy and red flags went up in my head and I was like, no, Kirsche. No,
Hey,
Kirsche.
Foxy,
It's not
been
every
now on
time do they say
vacation.
he a good
Have
boy
some
means
bouillon.
that he's the one who
Random
did
BLM
something wrong,
fact.
Kirsche.
They don't
Kirsche,
use the
don't
bank
think
I
like
def
that.
don't work
He's
for,
he's
which
clearly the
doesn't contain
victim
their
here.
payment history, vendors, customers, staff. Unrelated.
The 18-year-old, upon seeing that his friend was stabbed and on the ground, tried to render aid, tried to pack the wound and keep the pressure on it, District Attorney Jim O'Neill said, adding that the 18-year-old cried and cried upon learning that Graham was dead. There's not a shred of evidence to suggest this was anything more than an accident. And now that woman's response makes a lot more sense. She can't really be angry at this if her nephew? I can't remember. But if he was the instigator, like, you can't really be mad. Can't really be mad. You know? You don't think that guy's ever gonna vape? I would not if I was involved in this. I'd be like, oh, no vaping, dude. We have no enemy to punish here. We have no friend to reward, O'Neill said. Kimbrough emphasized that more must be done to prevent a tragedy like this in the future. And you know, that also makes a lot of sense why in that other article there was zero information about the other kid in this attack, because they were just painting the perpetrator as the victim. God damn, journalists, why are you like this? Either we're going to be our brother's keepers or our brother's pallbearers, Kimbrough said. Metal detectors were not being used in the school that day due to staffing issues. You can't just throw money at problems and buy things and then not utilize them. Among other issues, according to Kimbrough, he stated firmly that he believed that active metal detectors would have detected the knife the student was carrying. The district, however, expressed that this wasn't something that could have been known due to how open gate detection systems are calibrated. Superintendent Don Phipps said the school will use metal detectors every day from this day forward and that conversations on school safety are ongoing and will continue. The thing that we paid money for that we weren't using, we totally swear we're gonna use it now. Pinky promise. He said that in order to meet the needs of the district with open gate system, the financially embattled school district would need $2 million. I feel like every time any teacher says we need more funding, you should cut that school's funding by however much they're asking for. Fuck these people. Absolutely fuck these disingenuous, cuntish, disgusting people. Oh, your child died? You want us to use the fucking metal detectors that we should have been using in the first place, but we weren't because we're severely understaffed. Maybe if you give us another $2 million, we might think about not letting this happen again. Fuck you. It's not just about a metal detector, it's about all the other pieces that are involved in that, including the mental health well-being of our faculty and staff, and the things you've heard today that extend out into the community that we need to work on, Phipps said. Phipps said, "My thoughts and prayers continue for all those involved. I want to be part of the solution." When asked about staff well-being, Phipps responded, "Teachers are struggling. Every educator in this field struggles when a child hurts. And the death of a child and violence in schools, it shakes us to our core. That's not something you raise the shade on the next morning and you've got over what happened yesterday." Yeah, well, you know what could have prevented that? I don't know, if you maybe had people using those metal detectors. Not 100% surefire that it would have worked, but it would have been a better thing to do if you had people fucking on them, dude. What the hell? What the hell? Chief William Penn Jr. spoke as well, stating that 6 teenagers have been killed in Winston-Salem this year. You know, not for nothing, but when my mom temporarily moved to North Carolina, she moved to Winston-Salem. We were seeing some real fucking redneck trash behavior down there. Let's see, if I turned 16 that summer, my brother would have been like 12 to 13. So when I was down there, he was probably turning 13. And my brother was dating a girl at the time who I'm pretty sure was 14, if I remember correctly. She was 13 or 14, but I'm pretty sure she was 14. And she had already had 2 abortions, and she was pregnant at the time my brother was dating her. Not with my brother's kid, mind you, but like coming from New England and going down into like deep trash south of North Carolina and finding out that there was a 14-year-old that had already had 2 abortions and was pregnant with another child was just incomprehensible to my brain. Like, I don't know what. And you keep hearing the Northerners moving here. The problem, yeah. No. But I did get to see my first, like, front yard redneck lawnmower barbecue while I was there. That was fascinating behavior. That was truly fascinating. That said, family of North Forsyth student killed in stabbing to seek legal counsel after no charges filed. Well, after getting more of the background, yeah, there shouldn't be charges filed. I don't know what you mean by this. The family of a 16-year-old student who died in a stabbing at North Forsyth High School said Thursday they plan to seek legal counsel after Forsyth County District Attorney Jim O'Neill announced no charges would be filed against the surviving 18-year-old student. Investigators said Cameron Graham died Tuesday after a struggle with the older student over a THC vape pen in a school bathroom. Investigators said Graham brought a 3-inch knife, and the 18-year-old sustained defensive wounds while trying to wrestle the knife away and later attempted to save Graham's life. There's not a shred of evidence to suggest this was anything more than an accident, O'Neill said during a news conference Thursday. He added that the two students were friends and knew each other well. Which I think them being friends and knowing each other well makes this, like, even more tragic, right? Because, like, this kid who was friends with the now dead student is going to have a guilty conscience for fucking ever because the 16-year-old decided to bring a knife to school and then also bring it out in a fight over a vape. And now he has lost his life due to his own actions. But when you're the friend who was trying to wrestle it away from him to protect your own life and now he's gone, you're going to feel that survivor's guilt. You're going to feel like crushing all the time, especially if the family is trying to blame you for things that weren't your fault. That guy was 18 years old and my nephew was not the aggressor, said Jacqueline Harrell, Graham's aunt, in a phone interview with WFMY News 2. We can't release all the details, but they should have investigated further. We know for a fact that the knife was not brought to school by any of our family members, and we won't let this go. We will not rest until he gets justice. If the video evidence shows your kid had that knife, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to say. We do not agree with the claims of self-defense or that this was an accident, Harrell continued. As a family, we're still seeking legal counsel to help with the investigation. We have received no justice so far, and at this point, our family deserves justice. These are not accidents, and this is not self-defense. In a press briefing on Thursday, O'Neill said interviews and evidence indicated that two students had a normal relationship and even shared a bus ride the morning of the stabbing. He cried and cried when he found out his friend was dead, O'Neill said. Superintendent Dr. Don Phipps said the district will review safety protocols and announced that metal detectors will now be active daily in all Winston-Salem and Forsyth County schools. Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough said that if metal detectors had been active Tuesday, the knife would have likely been detected before entering the school. North Forsyth will also have enhanced campus security going forward, potentially lasting until the end of the school year. Well, we didn't get too much more information from that, but it's still very interesting. Still very interesting how much a story can change when you actually go and look up more articles to figure out the full scope of the details. I can't believe that first article we read. I can't believe. I should have noticed from the red flags. They didn't mention anything about the so-called perpetrator, who we now know is not the perpetrator, but the guy that acted in self-defense. They said nothing about him, no name, no nothing. And they called him a good boy. I should have, chat. I should have picked up the pattern recognition. A Somali refugee exposes that there's much deeper fraud and abuse in Minnesota than the public even knows about. They told him to refuse to assimilate and get on Section 8 housing.
There are much deeper issues. I've moved into the U.S. And in Maine about 11 years ago. And basically the first question that members of my community asked me which tribe, I belong to, and when I mentioned, so I fell into that category. So there's a deeper tribal rivalry going on in the community, much larger than anybody can actually imagine.
Is this part of the tribal rivalry? Is he just like, I know I can get the enemy tribe taken down for fraud?
And then interestingly enough, even though I spoke very good English, one of the things that I was told to do is go find a discounted housing Section 8, which I didn't know what actually it was, and sign up for all the other.
Chad, his mustache is like a perfect M. I can't stop staring at it.
Community benefits within the government or the state, and my response was, I'm actually here to work and build, basic and become part of the American fabric, which is pretty much what I've been working on for a while.
I'm incredibly fascinated by what you're having to say, so much so that I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to clarify. So when you felt that pressure and you were told to go join, public welfare programs once you moved here, where was that pressure coming from? Are you saying it's like cultural, like neighborhood, like neighbors telling you this is what you should do? How were you pushed in that direction?
Well, it was coming from the community that actually thought that was just a way of life, right? I instead of being asked.
This guy also said he was in Maine. Maine is where they started putting bounties on people's heads for talking about the fraud that they're committing. I'm kind of worried for this guy's safety now, actually. Because if he came out on the news, and if he's still living in Maine, he might have some safety issues. That's actually kind of scary.
About what kind of school I want to go to, what subjects I would love to study, and those interesting conversations weren't there at all. And my response was, can we do better things? Can we as a community actually integrate? And let's listen to that word, interestingly, because that had got me a huge backlash. This is many years ago that many people thought, no, let's not talk about integration. And I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for a pushback against this idea of sort of melting into America, becoming part of America. And let's just be very clear that I haven't arrived here as a young man. I mean, I came here at age 29, so I was well informed about my culture and my community growing up in the civil war in Somalia.
Incredibly, you're telling me you not only were discouraged from integrating into America, but you were also encouraged to stick to your tribal allegiances from back in Somalia, and those tribal allegiances and divisions remain here in America. That stat I showed, I'm curious, Abdi, about the percentage of the Somali population on some form of welfare, 80%, and stays that way. Shit. Stays that way over a 10-year period. Does that surprise you?
In some ways, it does not. Let me give you one example here. When I was in Somalia, a huge part of the population in Somalia
says welfare use rates in Minnesota by household. Any welfare, native households are 21%. Somali immigrant households, any welfare, 81%. And Somali immigrant households greater than 10 years in the U.S., 78% any welfare. That's crazy. That's crazy. Being here after 10 years, there's still 78% of Somalian immigrant households in Minnesota on any kind of welfare. Hot take. If you're an immigrant from anywhere, you should not qualify for welfare.
Talking about 20 million people in Somalia, a huge number of that depended on $100 that family members in the U.S. sent back home. So there was not a lot of work to rebuild the country or get to work or, just basically building things. So this whole idea of receiving things the easy way has unfortunately actually evolved and became part of our way of life.
He's just saying, like, yeah, you guys are really retarded and you give away so much free shit. It's just become a way of life. And he's not wrong. We are very retarded for just giving away so much free shit to immigrant households. Like, if you're coming here from another country, why would you be immediately entitled to American taxpayer money? That doesn't make any fucking sense. We had breaking Kenyan Dobby, the man stabbed by a criminal illegal on the North Carolina train, was reportedly trying to protect passengers when he was brutally attacked. Dobby was stabbed in the chest by Oscar Solorzano, a twice-deported illegal alien with criminal convictions, and is currently in critical condition, getting blood pumped out of his lungs in the hospital. This man is a hero. Pray for him. This was December 10th at 2:50 p.m. All right? December 10th at 2:50 p.m. And then, December 11th at 10 a.m., Kenyan Dobby, the man who was stabbed by an illegal on the Charlotte train, has now been placed under arrest. He is charged with punching a pregnant woman in the face so hard that he fractured it and then threatened to murder all of her children in October. Kenyan also has a previous assault charge, so due to Irina's law, he is being held on a $2 million bond. What the fuck fuck is happening? It just feels like everyone willing to go outside is someone with a criminal record at this point. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is going on? Would this be considered a chaotic neutral? Yeah, Irina's Law doing work though. Let's fucking go. A literal fell for it. I just thought it was fucking crazy. From like 3 p.m. almost on December 10th to 10 a.m. the next day, he went from like hero to, oh, this guy shattered a pregnant woman's face and threatened to murder her kids. What the fuck is happening? We literally live in an asylum. Homie's out here playing GTA in real life. What the fuck is happening? You can't make this stuff up. Baja Cat, thank you. Kenyon got back to business quickly. That's so, like, I just lost my mind. What do you even do with this? What do you even do when someone who is, like, defending other people, apparently, you know, from, like, an illegal stabbing on the train, what do you even do when you're like, yay, I like that, he protected people. That's the next day. The next day you find out he shattered a pregnant woman's face. What the fuck? How is this real?